Today we'll tackle our first gravel stages, from Rally Oceania to Pacifico, from day to night, from rain to dry. This will be quite varied and a lot of fun. Will I be able to keep the car in one piece this time? And with that, welcome back to HD Racing. Coming off the clutch win in last week's Rally Scandia, I'll link it up there if you haven't seen it, I feel really great. And so does my chief engineer apparently.
And the winner arrives! Congratulations! This is a massive boost for the team, and I'm sure you're as elated as we are. An event win is huge for us.
Yeah, it sure is. And as I said in the last video, I was quite surprised that we still managed to get out a win of that one, because there were some big incidents, but I think I did a lot better in the later stages. So still, hopefully this week's events will be a little bit easier. And we did get some benefits from just doing that last championship. And now we have some options here. And I was looking through, and Rally Sweden, not really interested in that. And the other events, I mean, this one could have been interesting. Even this maybe, but I was thinking, okay, since this is part of the career here, and I feel like this will help us in the long run, let's actually now do the talent scouting and hire some engineers, which will then hopefully help us in our upcoming events. And well, you can see here we have a weekly budget for that, so we can hire people based on their salary, which is kind of related to their skill level. And I decided to go for the one that's very skilled, but also kind of expensive, but bodywork aero, that's always damaged when I drive, so it's probably quite good to have him there to have that be a lot faster. I decided to go with a front-wheel drive expert as well, even though four-wheel drive could also be interesting because we will be driving the WRC, and that is four-wheel drive, but in the end I decided to not get that guy, but instead get suspension, which also gets damaged quite a lot. I mean, it's rally after all, so I feel like that's probably not the worst decision to make here. Well, and then we are already into the next week, because that took up the whole week before. And here we could do a builders championship, or, and that is what I went for, we can go into our first gravel stage. And for that we will have to have a car in the H1 front-wheel drive category. So while it would be nice to buy a shiny new car, we're actually taking one of the oldest cars here, the only one available to me right here, which is the Lancia Fulvia. And I have driven that in the previous game, Dirt Rally 2.0, but I don't quite remember. I just remember it being a little bit more tame and a 4-speed gearbox. You can see here 105 brake horsepower with 4 cylinders, but just 800 kilos as well. So while it doesn't have a lot of power, it still will go semi-fast. It will be a lot about momentum though. And here you can see we can now use our freshly hired engineers to hopefully help us out in this championship. We will see if that's actually the case, but yeah, I decided to go with them. They have stamina, so at some point they need rest, and that's also something you might have seen in the what you can choose in a week. That kind of feels a little bit bad that if you can't do anything but rest your team, then in that stage, kind of, I don't know. We'll see if, when we get there, if that's actually cool game mechanic or if that's just annoying. But yeah, I have a feeling it's the latter. We'll see. But here we are at Rally Oceania, and once again I think this is a fictional rally, but it's finally one that is on gravel, as I said before. And we haven't actually driven a gravel rally in this. We started on asphalt, we were on snow, but now we are finally on gravel, and it was kind of a relief to finally get here. And yeah, we're getting started here in the first stage. Not very long, but as I said, these cars aren't that fast, so it still takes a decent amount of time. And yeah, here I was still getting to grips with the car. I did one shakedown run, and I think I crashed a tree at the end, which wasn't great, so I had to repair the car. Used my engineers for that, so probably not the worst. But yeah, the car is still, or again, in good shape here for our first stage, so we can actually have a go here. This car definitely understeers quite heavily. This is something I already noticed in the beginning. I mean, it's an old car, so suspension isn't that amazing as it is today, and it's front-wheel drive. So I'm guessing the combination of the two really makes this thing understeer that heavily. And while you're off the throttle, it's okay, but if you just touch the throttle a little bit, the car just wants to go straight. So it's a very different driving style for this, even compared to the front-wheel drive we did drive last time. That wasn't as bad in driving behavior as this is. But if you know that, and if you can get used to that, if you can really throw the car into corners, and once you are kind of lined up for the exit, then punch the throttle, that really works well. So yeah, just something to get used to, I have to say. But so far so good. We are doing pretty well, I would say. There are some kind of tricky corners in this. If you're not paying attention to your co-driver, it's very easy. You can see a big wall on the outside. If you are not quick enough or don't react fast enough on the calls, you can, as you can see here, very easily drive into those rock walls. But so far just a little bit of a touch there on the right side. And well, here we are at the end of the first stage. Nothing major happened, and I think I did kind of well. This is a car that is very well suited to beginners, I would say. So for me, definitely something that, well, helps me to get to grips with front-wheel drive for sure, and just rally driving in general. It's a nice change of pace to have this, at least sometimes. I wouldn't want to drive this all the time because it kind of lacks a little bit of the nimbleness that other cars do have, but we will get there. And well, that's our first stage done. And by the way, since I said we will get there, the next video will be our first event in the WRC. It's the Junior WRC, so in the Ford that we bought in the very beginning. But yeah, that will come up in the next video. Here, by the way, you can see for some reason I'm way faster than the AI. And we are now into the second stage, and I'm not quite sure if it's because of the car class. You can see kind of struggling, and once again, because in this stage we are driving, as you can see, in the rain, and that really affects how the car feels. Like, it's even more slidey. Gravel, like to begin with, is quite slidey, but in the wet it's quite difficult to get grip, and you really need to be a lot more careful. So that's something that I needed to get used to here. And you could maybe also see, and maybe you can also hear it, I once again opened up the door for my co-driver to get some fresh air in. Yeah, apparently it's something that I like to do. It's always on the co-driver side, even though he now sits on the other side. Last time he was on the left, now he's on the right. I once again opened his door. But yeah, it's just, I think it's a nice detail in the game with the damage model. But even though I struggled here in the very beginning, in the end I kind of got used to driving wet gravel, and I think even in this one we will see that I did time-wise really well. So yeah, as I said in the beginning, or like as the last stage ended, I don't quite know. I can see the gap isn't as big, but still it's quite big, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here, if it's the car class or if it's am I driving on gravel, or if it's gravel in general, or just the stage. I'm not quite sure, but while in the other events I was kind of neck and neck, and I felt like AI difficulty was pretty good. Here, pretty much every event I was going a lot faster than AI, and we are at the end of the third stage here now, and overall did end up, yeah, you can see here 39 seconds in front, and that was actually already the last stage, because this was only a 3-stage event and we did win this one by a country mile. So yeah, I was debating of increasing difficulty here, changing the AI difficulty to maybe something like 80 or 85. We are currently on 75, but I felt like let's give it like 1 or 2 more events to really see if that is the right call, especially since this is kind of a slow car and we will probably have some more troubles once again if we drive faster stuff. And as I said, WRC is coming up and I don't want to make it too hard on myself there. If I at that point have still the feeling that we are having a little bit of an easy time, then we can still change it then. But for now, yeah, I was just checking after this event. It went by very, very fast, which was also kind of a relief. I was then checking here, okay, what's the next thing that we could do? And I was looking at this one, Rally Monte Carlo in Rally 4, and I was like, yeah, I really would like to do this. But then I realized I need a garage space for that, because I am right now at 3 out of 3 vehicles. And I only after the fact realized I could have sold a car and then bought a Rally 4 car. And with that, then started that at the time of recording here. I did not know that you could sell cars. I was like, okay, I'm out of luck. I don't have garage spaces. You can later on get more of those, but I wasn't aware that that was a thing. So in the end, and also because it's giving me a benefactor bonus once again, I decided, well, if we had the Lancia Fulvia, let's just drive it again for this next event. And it's once again a nice gravel stage with Rally Pacifico. So yeah, in the end, I think this was still a good decision, even though I would have really liked to drive Rally 4. I think that's a pretty cool car. It's still front-wheel drive as far as I know, but at least quite a lot faster than this, and also faster than the last one that we did drive. But maybe we can get to that later on. But here you can see this next event with a Lancia Fulvia, which is, by the way, a loaned car, not my own for some reason. I have 5 events or 5 stages in this event. And since I noticed how bad the understeer was in this car last time, I decided, okay, let's dip my toes into tuning for the first time. I didn't do much here. I just decided to go with brake bias quite a bit lower, and then also did go into the differential section and also lowered the front differential by a bit. I was debating of going even lower, but then was like, I don't know, I don't want to go too crazy for the beginning. You could probably do a lot more with tuning, but I'm just dipping my toes in for right now. I will try to learn how tuning works in this game and what affects what, and what you typically do in certain cars at a later point. Did I feel these changes? I would say yes. You will be able to see in a bit, and yeah, it's actually here already. I throw the car in and don't go on the throttle immediately, and the car did spin out, well, at least a little bit. Wasn't terrible, but it slowed me down quite a bit, and I would put this down both to my driving, but also to maybe the tuning. And overall, while the car still felt really understeery, it was a lot better in my opinion. So yeah, there's probably, as I said, a lot more that you can do in terms of tuning, but it was a good start. So, Rally Pacifico. Once again, I think a fictional rally, but well, even if it's kind of similar to the last one that we did drive with Oceania, it still has some very different flair. You can see here it has some very open sections with logs on the side where you need to be careful, and it also has some other nice things which you will be able to see later. Some cool features that aren't or at least weren't in the stages that we did drive in Rally Oceania. So I think both those rallies are quite nice. I definitely enjoyed myself driving these, and also driving this car, though as I said, probably not something that I want to drive all the time. But you can see here, it's even though there are some quite narrow corners, it's still quite wide. You have a lot of space here. I think it's one of the more forgiving rallies. But yeah, in terms of what we will do after this, as I said before, the WRC, the main event, is coming up after this. And that will be a 2-week event. I already saw that. And it will be, once again, in a very difficult environment. That's all I'm gonna say for now. But yeah, it will be very cool and interesting, for sure. Yeah, but here, first stage went pretty well, and I felt that the car didn't give me any big surprises, even though I did change some tuning settings. As I said, I think it just helped at least a little bit. So for this first stage, once again, because for some reason AI is really bad in these cars, I did have a quite big advantage, even like in the very beginning. But still, if you're not paying attention, like I really wasn't here, and I didn't realize that this square left was coming so soon, and well, either didn't listen correctly to my co-driver or just wasn't aware that it would come up that quickly after that crest, and it's so easy to then, well, crash into something. This time it was just one of those, what's that even called? I'm not quite sure right now. But yeah, this once again meant that I did damage the car, and would you know it, it's once again the co-driver door that's missing. For some reason, it always happens. You can see, just if you know these stages, I think you can throw this car around quite a lot. Really, as I said in the very beginning, it's very momentum based because it doesn't have a lot of power. If you can get this car like very well through these tighter sections and keep a lot of speed, I think you can do quite well. I'm not really doing it all that well here, but as I said before, against AI, for some reason I'm still doing way better than them. But that doesn't detract from the fact that I still want to do well. I want to drive well and yeah, get better, learn things. So this is what this is about for me. It's just a learning experience because, as I said before, I'm still quite new to rally driving. Even though I did drive Dirt Rally 2.0 at least a little bit in the past, I was never really good at it, and here in EAWRC I'm just starting out. So this is all a big learning experience. And you can see, once again, like it has a lot of these sharp square turns that sometimes are even behind the crest, so you really need to know where the turn is coming up to know where you need to brake. And that's one of the most difficult things here. Another thing that I've found really cool, I haven't seen that in any stage yet here, are these chicanes, which are, I think, kind of nice. I remember driving Rally Poland in Dirt Rally 2.0. I think those stages also had that. There's probably also others. I think it's kind of nice and like switches things up a little bit. So I thought this was kind of a cool feature. And here, I'm not quite sure what this ending is. It doesn't even tell you that the marshal's on the right. If you don't pay attention, then you don't really know where to go. But yeah, we finished that stage quite well and over a minute lead. I don't know. This, for some reason, as I said before, it's not very balanced in terms of the different car classes where the AI level is at. But yeah, we are heading into our first service here. I did have enough time to basically replace everything that was broken, so car is as good as new. And I also remembered to change tires. this will be a little bit of a challenge because we only have one set of mediums left, so either we will drive them to the end or we have a set of hards that we could also use. We'll see. But heading into our third stage, this is the first one now, which is in the wet. It's not raining right now, but it definitely had rained, so you can see gravel is wet, and you can really feel that in this game. And that I find really cool because, as I said, just driving on gravel already is cool, but it's nice that you have some different experiences with different weather, for example. And well, here you can see very early on in the stage, stupid mistake by me. If you hear into bridge, you should always be a lot more careful than I just was. Because if you crash that, well, I think a lot is busted. Because at least in these front engine cars, everything vital is in the front. So I didn't feel it much, luckily, because I'm also not driving with hardcore damage, just the medium damage basically. But still, you should pay a lot more attention. We did cut ahead here to basically almost the end of the stage, and you can see the weather did get quite a lot worse. So also quite a nice thing, in my opinion, to have this variability and the dynamics of, well, changing conditions. I think that's really cool, and that's something that's really present in real-life rallying, so I'm really happy it's here. I think it's not as pronounced as it could be in this game, but maybe that's something that will be changed later on. They are still developing this game. There is new content that's being added. They just dropped the 2024 DLC with the new cars of this year's season, which is nice. So it's also something I really want to check out. I mean, we will be driving one of those, the 2024 Junior WRC car, but there are also quite a number of other cool cars, mostly in the Rally 1 class, but yeah, we'll check those out at some point for sure. But yeah, end of the third stage. As I said, damaged the car for sure, but still did manage to do quite well. You can see once again quite a big lead. I think we'll just ignore that for now because, yeah, for some reason, as I said, AI is not all that balanced in this class. And we are now in stage 4 out of 5, and I make a very stupid mistake here, and yeah, really lucky that I didn't hit a tree here. And even in these slower cars, it can happen. If you don't pay enough attention and you just hit a crest or a bump in a weird way, you can, or you were able to see here, very easy to still spin the car and go off track. And as I said, I was quite lucky here. We didn't pick up damage from that, but we did pick up damage from the last stage. And here I'm kind of gambling with the repairs. I was seeing that I was in the red, but I also wanted to see, okay, what happens if we go into the red? Because sometimes they don't actually take the whole time. It's just a worst case estimate. I did go overboard here though, just a little bit, and that means we do have a 10-second penalty, but I mean, with the lead that we have, we would have to do quite a bit wrong here for this to not go our way in the end still. And for this last stage, it's probably the most difficult condition that you can get in this rally. It's night, it's raining, and well, the conditions here are really slippery. It feels like it has been raining for quite a while, at least from driving here. So I'm very happy that we are in a really slow car here, because otherwise this might end in disaster, I feel like. You can see visibility is really bad, and yeah, also grip level isn't great, and you can see I'm struggling even with this car to just, yeah, get it going, and I can't even get it out of this ditch, so I have to reset, and that is a 30-second penalty. So now I'm racking up penalties. I should be a lot more careful. because I don't want to throw away this event win. I mean, this should be an easy win with the AI being so slow on the previous stages. But if I keep doing stupid stuff like this, that might not be... well, it still might be a little bit of a stretch. We'll see. But yeah, for this last stage, I think I'm gonna be quiet once again and just let you listen a little bit to the car and the co-driver and also the weather and stuff. It's kind of nice. The atmosphere in this is really nice in my opinion. So yeah, I'll be quiet and just let you listen.
3 right, through dip, opens, and right of the crest, 40 to slight left. Tightens 2, into 6 right. Tightens 4, and sudden 2 left of a crest, 70. 3 right short, to 3 left, and slight right, 120. Slight left, into crest, and 4 right short, into slight left, long, slowing, 80. Turn, hairpin right, unseen, 60. Slight left, into crest, 50, turn square left. 50, long crest, 50.
And you can see here, once again, a little bit of trouble. Square left, I heard that, but it was going downhill and I just wasn't able to get the car stopped. That meant that I was once again going off track. Wasn't terrible, didn't lose that much time, but still, even though, as I said, these cars are kind of tame, still, sometimes you really need to be careful because, yeah, also the brakes aren't all that great. That's something I noticed. But overall, I still felt we did good here in this stage. No major incidents this time, and, well, apart from the one you saw in the beginning, but nothing else. And we did manage to get through this kind of difficult stage pretty well, I would say. And we are almost at the end here, which means that we will probably have the win in our bag. And that means that's the second win in this Lancia Fovea, which, as I said, is kind of nice for a beginner, but I don't think I will be driving again. Here, as you can see, I'm looking for the marshals. I was like, where are they even? Okay, they are here. But yeah, I don't think I will be driving this car again. I think it's not all that interesting. You can see, even with the penalties that we did get, we only are 8 seconds behind, and overall almost 3 minutes in front of the second place. So yeah, as I said, hopefully we will have some other opportunities in the future. And as I stated before, one opportunity is the next event, which is the first event of the Junior WRC. And I can now spoil this a little bit. We will be going into the snow again. Yeah, in a way faster car than we did last time. And it's gonna be not Rally Scandia, but Rally Sweden. I'm kind of terrified, but also really looking forward to it. And I hope you are too. And well, that's it for this week's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or comments or just suggestions or just ideas for the series as a whole. I'm really enjoying doing this at the moment, both driving and also doing these videos for you, where I kind of try to cut together something interesting of what happened. I hope that you enjoy this, and yeah, let me know in the comments what you think and if you have any ideas. If you've made it this far, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But that's it from me. I've been HD Racing, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.